1723 Main Street.
Home of everything to do with Disney travel in style. We're your hosts.
I am Mike Braddock.
And I'm Amelia Braddock. And today, what people are really wearing at the Walt Disney World Christmas parties.
Yes, a couple of episodes ago, or stories, depending on if you read this or listen to it, we did an episode on how to theme your outfit for parks. And that's going to play into this a little bit, but we are just back from our latest Disney World trip. Yesterday we returned, and we did both Christmas parties back to back. So we did Very Merry Christmas Party at the Magic Kingdom on Friday night. The very next night, Saturday night, we did Jollywood Nights. And let's talk about what people are actually wearing to these parties and how they compare to each other.
Well, it was interesting to me because a lot of the time I feel like there is separation between the parks, but generally there's a very, Disney baseline of what people are wearing at Disney World at any given time. But with these two parties, it really was quite different.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because if you're not as close to the Disney-isms as we are, you may think, well, they're Disney Christmas parties. I can pretty much wear the same thing to both. I mean, you could.
Yeah, nobody's going to be like, hey, you are not on theme.
But is that what's really happening? No.
For the most part, people are taking at least a little bit of time to lean in different directions with these two parties.
Yeah, and they're sort of overlaying what we discussed in the park-specific, non-Christmas, park-specific Disney outfits 2 weeks ago. And I'll put a link to that here. So let's start first with Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. Let's talk about that because there were a couple things that are very apparent right away.
Yeah. I mean, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party takes place at Magic Kingdom, of course. And you can tell when you look at what people are wearing, you can tell that it takes place at Magic Kingdom.
What do you mean by that?
It's just very much like, obviously, Magic is the quintessential Disney World park. You've got the castle. It's just very, not necessarily childish, but it's more like cozy, classic Christmas. There is a ton of Mickey everywhere. It's just the very traditional Disney meets Christmas meets classic comforting style. And so it's more relaxed in that same vein as well.
Yeah, and it's interesting to note that Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party has been around since 1983. That's when the very first one was. It was a one-time thing. Gee, guess it caught on at that time. But the point is that people really know what it's all about now. It's been around for years and years and years.
Yeah,
so the theming is sort of locked in. One of the most noticeable things or trend I noticed is PJs.
Yeah, I think this was obviously like a trend with teenagers for a while now, like on at least.
What do you mean, obviously a trend? To those of us who aren't teenagers, that wasn't obvious.
Well, really? You haven't seen teens everywhere walking around in pajama bottoms all the time?
Now that you say that, yes, but it didn't really dawn on me otherwise.
So that's everywhere. So, for me, if you're just like thinking, what are you going to wear to this Christmas party? Throwing on Christmas pajamas doesn't seem that far out of the realm. It's totally something, if you're going like a group of friends that live in Orlando or the surrounding area, of course you're going to wear PJs. Like that's very natural, but it extends like far beyond that. There's entire like families, multiple generations wearing the same matching PJs. Like a vast number of people in every single demographic are all wearing pajamas.
Yeah, we actually both noticed that. I mean, it was really noticeable.
Cute way.
Yeah, in a good way. To the point where Amelia even said, I might wear my PJs next year. And I said, don't look at me. This is not going to be the family and PJs thing, but you go ahead. So, and that's true. I mean, it doesn't have to be a family, but if you want a matching outfit for this party and you're PJs people, then you will not feel out of place.
I mean, Disney likes to come out with their new line of Christmas PJs every year. Not surprising at all. So if you find a cute pair, past years, anywhere online, doesn't have to be Disney. I will say a lot of the pajamas worn, vast majority, are Disney, but
they were either Disney or they were Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't just see random pajamas.
There weren't random, so if you've got pajamas that are Christmas or Disney or both, I mean, those are the ones you want to wear. Yeah, we didn't see just someone in, I don't know, pajamas with although you can make anything Disney. I was going to say dinosaurs. Well, Animal Kingdom. Yeah. Or you could say cars. Well, cars. But you know what we mean.
Yeah.
So in summary, Magic Kingdom, definitely the Christmas party is classic Disney style. And I will say most people, being more than half of the guests, put some effort into their outfits, I would say. So it's definitely got that, as you said, fun, classic Disney vibe.
More than half of the guests had Mickey very obviously in some way, shape, or form.
And they looked like
outfit.
they tried, is what I was getting at. It wasn't just the crowd in the day and the crowd in the party. Definitely different.
Well, first of all, like when you go to the party, you're going obviously for other party activities, but you're anticipating taking a lot of pictures, I imagine, especially, you know, if you're with little ones or if you've got multiple generations and you want cute family photos, you're gonna come prepared. You're gonna dress to impress, dress to take good photos. So you obviously have that in the back of your mind when you're planning, if that's what you want to do.
So, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, been around for decades, makes sense, mature. But
I feel like it's still shifting though. It's evolving as it goes.
What you mean the party itself? Yes.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't see people strolling around in pajamas in the 80s, I don't think.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe you would. I don't know. I wasn't there.
All right. Now, Disney Jollywood Nights over at Hollywood Studios.
So different.
Launched in 2023. This is its second year, so this is a very new Christmas party. The theming of the party, generally, and all their stuff is 1920s Hollywood glitz and glam, which again reflects the general theme of the park that we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
It's called Hollywood Studios, so...
Yeah. Yeah, but it you know, they picked that era of sort of the rise of Hollywood before Hollywood was the touristy Hollywood that it is today. It was actually nice back then. So we were really curious to see, would guests embrace that? How many guests would embrace that? Really, what were people wearing? And we noticed a few interesting things.
It also goes very much on theme with the party. It's like right away, you don't even walk onto Hollywood Boulevard. It's fully onto Sunset Boulevard. Everything's decked out. Everything is very much on theme. So you, as the guest, want to fit into that theme if you're planning ahead.
Yeah, and just as an aside, we highly recommend this party.
Oh, yeah, it was really good.
It was amazing, and it's very different than Very Merry Christmas Party, which is also great. Is it a little bit more adult? I could say yes. Even the food and things, it's more focused on food and alcoholic drinks, whereas Magic Kingdom is more sweets in their foodie guides.
Yeah. Kids are obviously fine at Jollywood.
For sure. Lots of kids there. Don't get us wrong.
If you have kids, don't be deterred. But if you don't have kids, I would lean more this one.
All right. So what were people wearing? Well, what we noticed is that overall, I would say, let's see if you agree, that guests were not as dressed up overall as they were at Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. However, those that did dress up really dressed up.
Yeah. However, I think what you mean is that they were less obviously dressed up. I saw a lot of cute outfits that weren't full on Jollywood theme, but because they weren't Mickey. There was way less Mickey at Jollywood. I feel like you think they weren't dressed up even if they
that's fair.
were.
So, I mean, let me give you an example. So we saw guests in, you know, those shimmering dresses, the kind that you were going to wear last year, except we got rained out. This year you wore, I don't know, how would you describe that dress?
I don't know. I was vintage.
It was definitely a dapper style.
I'd say it was dapper.
Well, you were dressed to theme. You did not look like a regular Disney guest. You looked like you were dressed up for the party.
I love a good party theme.
Yeah, we saw shimmering dresses. We saw zoot suits. We saw high heels. I mean, people going right in. Fancy hats. People with canes, you know. You know,
even like hairdos. People were doing nicely.
So I loved seeing that people really added the ambiance to the event that way. You really noticed it. And I have to say, I was just telling Amelia this before the show. The one thing that struck me is, first of all, the lines were pretty short. I mean, 15 minutes or less for almost everything except Slinky Dog, surprisingly. So we went on Rise, almost a walk-on, during the line, right beside us in the pre-area, when we're, you know, about to be processed by the First Order. There was a group of 5 or 6 people in their full shimmering dresses on the women, high heels. The guys had berets on and zoot suits, and I felt like this is cool because it really looks like the First Order just grabbed, you know, all these people from different areas. They weren't in Disney clothes with backpacks, so it's like, oh man, these people were at a formal party when the First Order got us. That sort of thing. So it was really sort of, in an odd way, actually made Rise of the Resistance feel more authentic to me. I was thinking that while I was standing there in line.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit better than the normal get-ups on Tatooine.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was really cool. So overall, we were sort of quite, I guess, happy. And I don't know, happy, but I felt good to see that people were dressing up for both parties and people were paying attention. You know, you pay $100 and change to go to these things. So it's nice to see everyone putting in a little effort to get in the spirit of the event per its theme.
I really liked Jollywood. I thought it was good. And I thought even if people weren't necessarily over the top on theme, there was a lot of understated chic, but it was still an outfit. You still put together and you didn't just...
there was thought.
You didn't just show up. You still like put together a nice,
even I did.
Cute outfit to take pictures.
I mean, I didn't have anything completely on point, but I did find things that sort of suited the theme. So even I put some effort into thinking about it in terms of a more formalish theme for Jollywood Nights. So overall, it's safe to say that if you want to go to either of these parties and you want to get into the spirit of it all, this year, the ones that are left, or next year, absolutely dress up for either one, because it really adds a lot to the overall ambiance of the party, the friendly, upbeat spirit, and that's really what it's all about. So yeah, become part of the crowd. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. As always, follow along on social media at 1923 Main Street. Visit us at 1923mainstreet.com. We will see you again next week and have a magical day.
Bye-bye.